Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Meadow Point informational meeting. I'm Amanda, the Sales and Marketing Manager here at Infinity, and
I am Scott Blodgett. I'm the president of Infinity Custom Homes.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to wait a minute or two here just to let people kind of hop on. So we are really excited to release Meadow Point. It's been anticipated here. I know we've had a lot of people interested, and you guys are all really excited to hear the details for this community. So I think it's going to be a pretty good one.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to share some preliminary information for our viewers and those interested in the Mars School District area.
All right. Let's give it one more minute. Let a few more people hop on here. So we are today sitting in our Nantucket model at our Sunset Ridge community in Wexford. So if you haven't had a chance, definitely come check out our models. They're open 5 days a week. You guys don't need an appointment to tour through. You can just come on in as you want to.
As we're waiting, maybe talk about the model hours and days of the week that we are open.
Yes, so we are open Wednesday through Sunday from 12 to 5. And again, you don't need an appointment to just come on in. You can come in anytime between 12 and 5 to check things out. You'll obviously schedule an appointment with the sales team to go through pricing, and we'll get through that towards the end of this. But yeah, our models are open for you to tour through whenever you want.
How many do we have?
There are 4, and the great thing about that is they're all in the North Hills, really close to each other. So a lot of people will do a model home kind of tour day, if you will, like on a weekend. You can kind of hop from one to the next and make them all, within a couple hours. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get to it here. I know you guys are all excited to hear what we have to say. So Scott's going to start us off talking about kind of the status of the community and where the community is located.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Thanks for everybody who's tuning in to gather some information on our newest community, Meadow Point. It is located in the heart of Adams Township in the award-winning Mars School District. So we are very excited to have another Mars community to the collection of communities that we do currently have. We do have another one, Cypress, in Mars, and this will be a very nice addition to that one, and some distinct characteristic differences between that we'll share with you. Also located, for those that maybe don't know the area as well, it is located in Butler County, and as we all know, tax-wise, it is about half of what you could expect to pay in property taxes in Allegheny County. So always a nice advantage if you are considering where you want to be here in the North Hills. As far as the status and kind of timing of Meadow Point, this has been a work in progress for the last 2 years. Our developer partner has been working very hard with the township and all the government agencies that you typically would be working with, from buying a plot of land to the point where we're at just about getting ready to pave the community. There is an aerial photo you want to share?
Definitely. Let's get this up here.
There you go. So that gives you, this photo was taken a few weeks ago, Amanda?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Okay. So as you can see, we are starting to be able to make out where the streets will be located, home sites, and just general flow of the community. And we believe, based on what our developer is telling us, that we should be paved here in the next few weeks. So paving kind of is the defining point for when we can really start to work with customers and start to help them pick out and select the best home site for them. And we start feeling pretty comfortable once paving is complete that there won't be any major holdups as far as timing goes. So that's kind of why we are starting to share some information here with you now. And that's kind of where the community is at in the process.
Awesome. All right, so location-wise, I did want to mention too, if you go to the website, and you may have already seen this, I have there's an address on there that links to Google Maps. So if you did want to drive by, or you haven't driven by yet, there's an address on the website that you can click through to see kind of where it falls at on Dobson Road.
So yeah, the address is 230 Dobson, right?
Yeah, that'll get you real close to
that.
Yeah, that'll get you real close to the entrance there of the community. If you haven't already seen that. So.
Dobson is right off of Mars Evans City Road.
Yes.
For those of you that are familiar with the area, so pretty easy to find once you're traveling on Dobson. Impossible to miss at that point.
Yes. Yeah.
So pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, I think that covers location. One thing I did want to mention for those that are with us live right now, if you have questions as we're going through the presentation, you can use the chat button that's down at the bottom. We will get to questions at the end. So if you want to ask the questions you don't forget later on, you're welcome to throw it in the chat, and then we'll address all of those at the end. So I think we are ready for more specifically on the home site information side of the community.
Yep, and probably the biggest asset to this particular community is the home sites. You know, as we have been working within Western Pennsylvania now for 20 some years, kind of selling home sites and homes to the general public all over Western Pennsylvania. We have learned that Western Pennsylvania is not always as terrain friendly as we would like as home builder and developers and eventual home buyers. So, you know, we generally, as we're talking to lots and lots of families every year, there is a consistent message, which is we would like a bigger, more usable, more private backyard than oftentimes we're able to give or present in any given community. So I would say this one is very unique, and in that it is probably one of the nicest tracts of land we've had to start with, which certainly helps while developing and engineering and creating home sites. And so we are real excited that maybe for the first time in my career, collectively, there are 38 home sites, and I would say all of them are really nice, very usable, and collectively probably one of the nicest tracts of land and collection of lots that I have seen. So I think our viewers, as they start to kind of visit the community, will take note to that.
Let me show the much anticipated map here. I know everybody's been wanting to see this. So here is the site map.
All right, so as you can see, there are 38 home sites. They are color coded by acreage or size. And within the collection of 38, I believe there are 17 half-acre lots. And those are typical kind of in our single family portfolio of communities. A half-acre lot is about what we have everywhere else. And then there is 16 of the 38 that are going to be bigger than that at 3/4 of an acre. So people will find those to be very attractive. And then there are 5 that will be 1 acre plus home sites. And so very unique, because we generally are not used to having 3/4 and acre lots within our community. So we're pretty excited to be able to offer almost more than half of the 38 lots to be bigger than what we're generally used to, which are half-acre, 100-foot wide lots. So I think, again, the lot quality and size will be very attractive for the people here that want to be in Morris School District in Butler County. So, all right. Maybe show the aerial again, because I think that would maybe highlight some of the key characteristics of this community. So I think a few things to note and maybe get excited about, as these are maybe different than or challenges we've had with some other communities through the years. There is one entrance. It is not going to be a pass-through community, and that is always attractive for anybody evaluating home sites. And there's only 38 of them. So it isn't too small and it's not too big. We think this is going to be a 3-year project for us. So kind of a perfect size community. Sits atop of a beautiful, beautiful ridge within the area. Some gorgeous views, especially towards the end of the community, down towards where the 2 cul-de-sacs are located. Gorgeous views of Adams Township. We always, it's hard to avoid this many times when developing, but oftentimes you have home sites that back together and maybe don't create as much privacy as people would like. In this community, you'll see that every lot is kind of around the perimeter of the community. Every lot will have views of trees, which will create natural privacy and just very picturesque views from whichever home site really they would pick here in this particular community. And there are 2 cul-de-sacs. I think people generally do like to be kind of around the cul-de-sac living, yes. So I think, as you can see, beautiful community, and really, in addition to size, because acreage is one evaluation as you are considering which lot you might want, but more important, especially in Western Pennsylvania, than actual size and acreage would be usability. So you could oftentimes have a half-acre lot in Pittsburgh with 20, 30 foot of backyard. And we have certainly struggled through communities where that is the case. These are very different. Again, I guess as a comparable, in many of our communities through the years, and this is consistent with all builders in every community in Western Pennsylvania, and the end user, the homeowners who will eventually be living in the homes in a particular lot, if you could get 50 foot of backyard in Western Pennsylvania in terms of depth, that is doing pretty good. The average seems to be 30 to 50. Anything larger than 50, you are a very fortunate backyard owner. So that is what we have found. And here in this particular community, I would say they will be a minimum of 50. Many of them will grow to 100 foot of depth and usability and even beyond. So I'd say, again, beyond location, school district, and county taxes, and all the things we just mentioned, probably the most exciting thing about this community would be the quality of land that we have to offer with this one. So I think as people start to kind of travel out and walk, you can walk the community now. It is not quite paved yet, but we've had lots of people kind of out of curiosity at this point who have heard about the community go out and kind of walk around. You're welcome to do that. I think that will be the first thing you notice and really appreciate is the seclusion, the trees, and the usable backyards.
Okay, so I think that covers all the amazing home site information. So now on to kind of product, what we are going to be building there, and pricing. So let me share the screen here, and Scott can tell us all about the kind of starting prices.
All right, so in Meadow Point, it will feature our core product line. So our single family homes, we will be, we didn't mention, but the exclusive builder in this particular community. Oftentimes that is not the case. So we will be the exclusive. It will feature all of our core single family product, starting with the Napa and on up through the Austin. What you're seeing on the screen right now is listed in order of size for the most part, and along with that, there is an increase in base price, as you can see, for each of the models. Many of those, we do have furnished models that you can visit, as Amanda mentioned earlier, as we get started, and we certainly encourage you to do so. Probably the biggest asset in evaluating, which home is going to work best for you is to go kind of touch it, feel it, walk it, visualize it. And we feel like that is a major asset, that we have 4 furnished models here in the North Hills area that is convenient for our customers to go visit. And we are open 5 days a week.
5 days, yep.
5 days a week.
Yes.
So out of the 8, I didn't mention, 6 of those will be kind of our traditional owner suite on the second level. And two of those will be first floor owner suite or one kind of main level living for anybody who is interested, empty nesters, etc. And one of those is brand new, the Carolina. And all of these you can see on our website. The Carolina is brand new. We're still kind of developing content to share with our viewers. There'll be a video tour of that that people can check out too. But 6 very, very really nice, proven, many of them very proven within, we've been selling these for a while now, homes that you will have to choose from.
Yes. All right. So now kind of how the sales price is comprised of, pull the screen up here. There we go.
All right. So this is kind of the same process we have been using from the beginning. So nothing too new here for anybody that has ever met us or has sat down with us to price out a home. The process will be the same. We try to be as transparent and as efficient as we can in sharing our pricing with everybody so that they can very quickly make an educated decision on which home is best for them and what collection of specifications or scope of work works for them and their family. So there are 3 components that do make up the overall sales price. First is the base price of the home, which we just shared, and we'll be publishing all this information here.
Yeah, so the website will go live probably around 5 o'clock tonight with all the floor plans, pricing, and all of that. You obviously have the information, but for you to reference again, it'll be around 5 o'clock tonight. You'll be able to see it all on there.
All right. So as I mentioned, 3 components that make up the total sales price of your home. 2 of those you will have at 5 o'clock tonight, one of which is the base price you already have, and the second will be the home site premium. And this is how we kind of differentiate a given lot within a collection of home sites in a given plan. So in Meadow Point, like many of our communities, the range of premium will be between no premium to $50,000. There are many factors that go into kind of creating what a premium is, but it is a perceived value. And so oftentimes it is size, location, privacy, usability, all of those factors that go into where that particular home site falls between no additional cost up to 50 and everywhere in between. So we are going to publish that. We haven't done this before, so this will be new. And we'd like to get this information out to anybody who is interested as soon as possible so they can then visit the community on their own with a map. We also will be publishing, again, for the first time, this is going to be new, but we think it will be helpful for anybody evaluating this community. We will be publishing a grading map. Within the grading map, you will kind of see where the slopes are within a community, the particular size in terms of acreage, the lot dimensions. There are varying building lines within the community. So all the information that is important that you were only able to get by talking to somebody from Infinity now will be at your fingertips as of 5 o'clock today.
Yes.
So, and that will be the second component. So lot premium, base price, and then the third, you would need to make an appointment to sit with somebody in our sales team. Oftentimes it is me, so hopefully I will see lots of you, as well as Jody and Angela and Alicia. We will all be kind of helping you kind of sift through what the best lot, what the best option package, and ultimately trying to help you balance all that within a budget that you're comfortable with. So the options would be the third component, customizations, things that are important to you in your particular home. So typically that information within a 1 hour phone call, we can share all of that with you. And we've gotten pretty good being able to share this information. And it is a, kind of the big unknown right now. And so to kind of complete the sales pricing process, that would be the next step. And I would allocate an hour to maybe an hour and a half of to kind of go through that information, as well as kind of financing and other things we'll also share with you in that first appointment. So that is kind of how the pricing part of the process works. Okay. And from there, we'll kind of explain how you can.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to ask, what ranges of values do you anticipate within Meadow Point?
Okay, very good question. I think it will be very similar to a lot of our other communities that offer half-acre or larger home sites, and some of the other ones that people might know of or have maybe priced out in before. Sunset Ridge, where Amanda and I are currently with our Nantucket model, Cypress, Forest Edge, all these other communities that we've been working in. What we have found is we generally start in that kind of 700 range with our Napa. After a home site premium and people kind of picking through what they want within their home, we find that the values of homes within that community range from 800, low eights, to 1.5 or more, and everywhere in between, depending on house and what is important to them.
And obviously there's always a few outliers, but that's kind of the average. Okay. Yes. All right, so now we are going to get into next steps. So I think we've given you all the information that you have not previously had right now about the community. So now what to do. So let me share the next slide with you guys. All right, so next steps is for you to schedule your first appointment with the sales team. And you can do that by connecting with Alicia. So Alicia's cell phone there is on the screen, so you guys can write that down. I believe most of you have probably already connected with her, so you probably already have this information, but just in case you need it, there's her cell phone and her email. So the sales team is going to start holding appointments on September 14th, so on next Monday. So you can connect with Alicia today. You guys can get slotted in starting next Monday. There's no need to rush to get an appointment first thing on Monday. I'll go through the release process here in a second. So just so you're not like stressed out of like texting her right now, there's plenty of time for the sales team to meet with everyone. So we are in the meantime, so kind of while we're in the process of everybody meeting with the sales team to do pricing and talk about home sites, there's a couple things that you can do on your end. So we already talked about touring the model homes, and many of you have probably done that, but if you haven't had a chance to tour all of them, get a chance to come out and do that. Even if it's not the floor plan that you're looking to build, it's nice to just get ideas, concepts, different things like that that you can introduce into whatever floor plan is that you're looking at. The website, there's a lot of resources. You've probably seen a lot of them. We have virtual tours of every single floor plan. So some of the floor plans that we don't have model homes of, we have virtual tours on there. So you can virtually walk through literally every floor plan that you would want to. And some of them have multiple different, so you can get, we built 2 Aspens, so there's 2 different Aspens on there. So you can get a good variety of different ideas by doing that. Lots of photography on the website, just a lot of content to give you some ideas of what you're looking for when you sit down with the sales team. For financing, to get started with that, you can reach out to our preferred lenders to get the pre-approval process started. So I know that many of you may have not started that yet, and that's completely fine, but we can connect you with them to at least get that conversation started, and it will help kind of expedite the process. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then prepping your home. So if that's applicable for you and you're going to be listing your home, you can start thinking about that, maybe start interviewing some realtors that you may want to list your house and just kind of get that process rolling along. All right, so next steps. Now we have the release process. So how we are going to be releasing the community. So let me share this screen with you guys. Okay, so the process is the sales team is going to be meeting with interested clients between the 14th and the 30th, so about 2 weeks worth. You'll have an opportunity to work with the sales team to go through pricing, home site information, financing, all the information that you will need to be able to make an informed decision on whether or not Meadow Point is a good option for you. You'll have an opportunity to put a lot deposit down. So our lot deposits are $5,000, and you're going to pick your top 3 lot choices. And it is fully refundable if you decide not to move forward, but that at least gives you an opportunity to get into the mix. And then on October 1st, we will have compiled all of everyone's lot choices, and we will let everyone know what choice you got. Ultimately, I know sales teams, everyone's goal is to get everyone their first choice.
Absolutely.
You know, that's really what we strive for. We don't want anything else, but sometimes we may be in a situation where 2 people have the same top choice. And so what we will do then is we'll kind of go off of non-contingent versus contingent. If you are financially pre-approved, so that's one of the reasons why it's important to make sure you have that in place. And then being able to start construction right away. So if 2 people have the same top choice and they're both non-contingent, they both have a pre-approval and they can both start immediately, then we would go to the final tiebreaker, which would be whoever has the overall highest sales price. I don't know if we've ever actually had to do that.
We have, and I think we have to put this criteria in just in case we do have 2 customers that really want the same lot, and we are going to work very hard to make sure that you get your top pick, and that is our goal. We want everybody to, on October 1st, anybody that is ready, willing, and able, and excited to move forward here in Meadow Point, to be very excited that they got their first choice in lots. And honestly, as we kind of we have done this many times through the years. We've gotten pretty good. And what ends up happening is every potential client's needs, whether they want a walkout basement or they want a walkout patio or they want a cul-de-sac or they want to be, back in the trees, or they want the view, or they want more usability, or they want, whatever it is that is driving their choice in lots, it ends up that it is slightly different than everybody else's. And so most of the time, it does work out. And I would say maybe every time. I can't really think of one where it hasn't. And that is always our goal. And I would say in this particular community, we're very lucky. Oftentimes in a community, there is 1 lot or 3 lots in a collection of 40, call it, that is exceptionally better than the other 37, right? In this community, they are all really nice. So I think if it was me, I'd be, I'm sure I would have a first choice, but in this particular community, I would be just as happy with my second or third in the event that there was a conflict. But again, our goal is to make sure October 1st, anybody that is wanting to move forward gets real excited and is able to do so. So we will help you through all the things that Amanda just mentioned. So don't let it overwhelm you or even really enter your mind so much right now. But I think the takeaway here would be start doing some prep work, visit the models. I would encourage, I'm not sure what we mentioned, but go to the home site, go to the community, I should say, and walk it, especially if it's a nice day, beautiful walk. I think you'll really get a sense of where you want to be within the community. As of 5 o'clock tonight, as you're doing that, you will have a published rating plan that will show size of lots, acreage, all the things that you're probably going to want to use to help you evaluate which makes the most sense, as well as premiums. And so those are kind of all the critical things that you're going to need. And I would encourage you printing those out, taking your phone, opening up the website as you're kind of walking through the community to kind of really give yourself a feel of, a short list. And then from there, reach out to Alicia, and we should then talk soon thereafter to help you with the rest of the process.
The one thing that we didn't say, but I think just kind of assumed, we are releasing all of the lots. It's not going to be like a phase 1 or phase 2. All 38 lots will be released now. So just in case anybody was wondering. All right, so I think now we're going to open it up to questions and answers. I believe some of you had asked some questions here, so I'm going to open the chat up. Okay. First question is, are there sidewalks?
Yes, there are sidewalks. Good question. Yep. There'll be sidewalks both sides of the road, so yes.
How long does construction last? Any HOA fees?
There will be HOA fees. There will be an HOA that the homeowners will eventually operate, as that is typical in any of our communities. We haven't received yet, I don't think, what the monthly fee will be. In a typical community, I hate to maybe quote this right now, but in a typical, what I can tell you is what in other communities that are similar, the range seems to be between $30 to $60 a month. We don't know exactly where this one will be. We will be getting that in the next couple of weeks. So once we do, and we're sitting down, we'll be able to share that information.
Okay.
Construction would.
Yeah. How long does construction last?
Well, construction of the homes. In this community, I think we would be able to get the first few people who were really motivated and wanted to get started in the fall, next fall. So our first sales, first people that want to buy would be signing sales agreements here beginning of October. Typically from that point to move in is about a 12-month process. So that would put us at like October of next year. So that would be kind of what to expect for the first few people who were really excited and really motivated and really was kind of anxious to get moving. And then we'd start, kind of completing homes thereafter. The community itself with 38 lots, we think it will be a 3-year project. So that gives you an idea.
Okay. So next question is how long, goes along with the time frames, how long would the home building process take start to finish with financing building? So from the time that somebody signs a sales agreement to moving into their house, what's the anticipated time frame?
So if you were to sign a sales agreement on October 1st, from there you would really start working through there's 3 things that start to happen. You're financing with your lender, and we'll help facilitate all of this, but you would be working through financing with your lender. You would be working through your selections, your kind of interior design selections with one of our in-house design coordinators, and they will kind of be walking you through that process. We will also be working with your bank and with our architect developing your site-specific blueprints that then given to the bank then orders an appraisal. And we also start to work with the township filing building permits. All of that is kind of happening simultaneously with one another and collectively takes 3 months. So, and then we start construction soon thereafter. The construction process from when we break ground to when you would move in, depending on the size of home, can take 7 to 10 months. So typical for most people, that process takes about 12 months.
About a year.
Yeah.
So depending on how many sales or contracts we have on October 1st, then obviously we'll prioritize those people that are looking to start immediately, and then we'll stagger from there out based on everyone's needs and how quickly they need to be in. But the general answer is about a year from contract to move in.
Yep.
Okay, quick follow-up to the HOA. What does the HOA actually cover?
Typically the HOA, an HOA is required, by the way. In any new community, there is common area. Typically the common area is at the entrance of the community. There's generally a entry monument. There could be space along kind of Dobson Road, which I think there is in this case, that is not owned or deeded to anybody specifically. And there also, we had mentioned that there are some walking trails here in the community. All of those things aren't owned by anybody specifically and are rather owned by the community as a whole. So anytime you have that, you have to create an association to govern those items. There isn't a lot of that here in this community, so I think the fees will be very minimal. But there will be officers that get elected in any community, and there will be some fees to pay for maintenance of those common spaces. So that's kind of how that works.
All right, what time frames do you have to make selections, and once made, are selections final?
This is really, probably our number one asked question. So, assuming, so between now and October 1st, for anybody that's kind of working through the process with us or will be, we will be helping them create a comfortable budget that will become their sales price. Okay, and that will be kind of the starting point of the selection process. So typically in that sales price, you will know the majority of your structural options. You're going to know what house, and you're going to know within that house what major options that are available you want, and there will be a price associated with all those things. From there, we will be kind of estimating, and we've gotten very good with the estimating part of this process, the items that you want in the interior of your home, cabinets and countertops and fixtures and all of the things that you will eventually start to select with our design coordinator. We will leave budgets behind within the sales price for you to then spend over the next 60 days with our design coordinator. And so the refining process of all of those interior selections and even the exterior colors of your home will be done. Again, if you bought on October 1st, you would probably start through that process toward the end of October and into November and the beginning part of December. And by that point, your loan would be completed and ready to then start construction. Your permitting and blueprints are going to be real close to being completed, and your selections would all be really close to being completed. And so kind of all that is happening over the next 60 to 90 days.
So as far as like exactly what kitchen cabinets and exactly what countertops, that's not being decided at that point.
No. Yeah.
Right.
So between now and October 1st, say, you will not be making any final decisions about any of the interior specifications. The only thing that you'll be making decisions on will be budget-driven cost within those items.
Yeah.
For example, a refrigerator, like the one behind us here. This is a good example because that refrigerator is about a $10,000 refrigerator. All right. So we will be asking people, and this is just one example, what type of refrigerator do you want? That is a built-in 48-inch refrigerator. The price on that ranges from $8,000 to $12,000. Let's say that one is 10. A more typical refrigerator is a 36-inch wide non-built-in refrigerator. The cost of that is $3,000 or $4,000. We don't need to know what brand you want or specific features between now and October 1st. We just need to know if you want a larger built-in or a more typical, and that would be one example, and there's many little things like that that would help us then establish budgets or estimates for you to use, and so that, you know, when you're going through that process, money is left behind when you are eventually making very specific decisions on which refrigerator you want.
Yeah, so those, the budgets that are put in for like kitchens and bathrooms and some of those bigger ticket items, those aren't just like darts thrown at the wall. Those are, you know, they obviously have done this many, many times and have been able to fine tune that, as Scott said, but there's also in communication with you as a customer, you know, if you have very specific things in mind, then obviously they can get, you know, more closer to those budgets if, you know, right. Like he said, specifically the refrigerator, that's one that, but you know.
We'll be talking about almost every single component of your home between now and October 1st. We will not be asking you to make any final decisions or selections on what those components are. We're just going to want to kind of know a range of each one. And so, you know, there's different hardwood types. So if we knew you wanted a certain characteristic of a hardwood, which we'll be talking about, we would budget X. If that wasn't important and you were okay with a 3-inch plank versus a 10-inch plank, there's different pricing. And so really it's more just kind of talking through the characteristics that would help us establish a price that then would
more high level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once you sign a sales agreement, then you get paired with a selection coordinator. So then that selection coordinator works with you from there on out through the end of construction to, they'll guide you through the entire selection process to make all those selections. So they really help you, keep you on track. And, you know, we have developed a really seamless process for you as a client to make it be fun and exciting and not stressful, and you're not kind of thrown out there, you know, having to make all these selections on your own. We really guide you through that to make it, you know, not a daunting process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yep.
Okay. Do you release structural modification and upgrade pricing so we can get an idea on total budgets?
I'm not sure what that means.
So I think what you mean, Chris, is so to get an idea of, okay, like what does the sunroom cost? What does, all the structural stuff
Oh, I
cost?
see.
You would need to meet
Yes.
with the sales team to
We will
do
not
that
be
pricing.
publishing that on our
Correct.
website, yes.
Yeah, so the only thing that's published is base price and the lot premiums.
Yes, we would love to do that one day, but we unfortunately are not there as a company. That is a work in progress. That is a great question.
Yeah.
And one day we will be answering yes to that question. But right now, the only way to get that information would be to meet us.
Yes. Okay. And you guys initial appointments are phone appointments, correct?
Yes. Yep. So I think everyone's schedule right now, especially going back to school with kids and working from home and all that's going on in the world, we have found phone appointments to be as effective as meeting in person. And it seems like with everyone's busy schedules, it is much, much easier to get somebody midday to sit down and go through an hour phone appointment. And very, very quickly, we will get you a very accurate price on what you can expect. And I think that is the next step for our viewers here who are interested. I think everybody wants to know, okay, yeah, this sounds great. The community is beautiful. Lots are great. I love this house. What is this going to cost me? So that I can determine whether or not I want to continue pursuing this or not. And the next step would be a 1 hour phone call with your sales team here, and we will help you get through that.
Yeah, and Chris, to further answer your question, once you do go through that pricing process, the sales team will then email you everything that you priced out. So you will be able to see that in an Excel doc that is sent to you. Okay, is a construction loan needed, or does the closing occur when construction is completed?
Great question. And it is needed. So the way we do finance would be through a construction loan. So very good question. And we'll kind of explain how that process works in that 1 hour phone call that we were mentioning. That will be about 15 minutes of kind of a crash course on how your home gets financed using a construction loan. And we'll kind of explain why we do it and the benefits that there are by doing a construction loan. So yes, there will be a construction loan needed, but very, very good question.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Will there be shopping and grocery within 1 to 2 miles from the site? Great question. Those are really important things. So yeah, if you're not familiar with the exact location, I would definitely, when we get off the call today, if you want to head over to the website and just click on the address on the website, and it'll pull up Google Maps, and you can kind of play around with Google Maps to see exactly where it's at to familiarize yourself. But it's right off of, so Dobson is right off of Mars Evans City, which then connects right over to 228. So then you've got everything that's right there on the 228 corridor. You're minutes away from downtown Mars. So, all the shopping, I know that there's not like a big giant Eagle in downtown Mars, but, there's the little mom and pop stuff there. But the 228 corridor right there literally has everything that you would need just minutes away. Do you have a model of the Aspen anywhere on other site area?
Unfortunately, we have sold our Aspen model. So we are here in Sunset Ridge in a Nantucket model. Our Aspen model was directly to the right of Amanda, and unfortunately, it just sold about 2 weeks or so ago. So we do not have a furnished model of the Aspen, but funny, the viewer has questioned that. So our replacement of the Aspen model will be in Meadow Point. So we didn't really talk about that, but we are planning on starting the first home, which will be our model. It's the first lot on the left, I think. Lot
number one.
And it will be the Aspen. So we will have a replacement eventually for people to walk through. Not quick enough for our audience.
In the meantime, there's multiple virtual tours of the Aspen on the website. So the model next door that Scott was just talking about, we did a virtual tour of that. I also recorded a little video in that model. So we have that as well as some of our previous Aspen models on the website. So next best thing to being able to physically walk through it. All right, next question. Will there be other phases with the surrounding land, or is this a single phase?
Good question. This will be a single phase. So there will not be any adjoining communities. Sometimes, like in the one we're at in Sunset Ridge here, if you have an adjoining parcel that could be developed one day, the townships oftentimes make you have provisions in your community for it to tie in. In this one, there was not that. So there will be 38 lots, 2 cul-de-sacs, and there will be no adjoining community at any point in the future.
Yeah. I'm just making sure we answered all these questions. They were coming in quick. Okay, I think we got all those. I think there may be one more just popped in.
Okay.
Do you have any relationships with local realtors that work with sellers listing their home at a special commission rate when they are buying in your development?
Great question. We do have many real estate partners that we have worked with, and we would be happy to refer the ones that we feel are
experts and
who would be able to help you for sure, especially in the Mars area. None that we have that have created any special rate. That's a really good question, but we don't have any formal program that we can speak of.
Yeah. So yeah, if you need help, we can definitely refer you some people that we know are top producing realtors in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think that covers all the questions. Oh wait, we just got another one. The top view appears that the lot is sitting on a hill with slopes from every which way. Is that true? Is it true that all home sites will have a slope at the back?
Good question. So it does sit on a ridge, which in my opinion is very advantageous for a property. You certainly want to be at kind of the high point of the land surrounding wherever it is you're at. So it is kind of a ride to the ridge. Once we publish the grading map here at 5 o'clock, you will have a very good sense of where there will be slopes and where there will not be slopes. I'll kind of mention it now. Maybe whoever's asking this question can specifically look for this, but in the grading map, you will see when there are a lot of lines that come together on our grading plan. We unfortunately can't show it to you now.
Actually, I think I can figure it out here. You can keep talking.
Yeah, so anyhow, you'll be able to see at 5 o'clock where there will be slopes and where there will not be slopes. So not every lot will have a slope behind it, and relative to what we are used to seeing, the slopes are pretty minimal. It is not uncommon here in Western Pennsylvania to have slopes in your rear yard. In fact, I am sitting here staring at one in Sunset Ridge.
I lied, I can't pull it up, sorry.
Okay. We'll just talk around it and then we can get into more detail. But we're at Sunset Ridge in our Nantucket model. This is a beautiful model. This is typical for Sunset Ridge, but we are staring at the backyard right now, and there is about 30 to 40 foot of usability, and then we're on the high side, so we step out onto a patio, we have 30, 40 foot of usable backyard, and then we have a slope that goes up. This slope that I'm looking at right now is about 50 foot high, and that is typical, in this community. In Sunset Ridge, all the lots are that way, and many times that is the case. Here in Meadow Point, instead of that 30 to 40 foot of usability that I'm staring at, you will have 50 to 100. And then beyond that 50 to 100, there may or may not be a hill depending on what lot you pick. But that hill, instead of being 50 foot tall, in many cases in Meadow Point, it's half the size or 10 feet or pretty minimal in comparison to many of the lots in Western Pennsylvania that we're used to working with. Unfortunately, this is not a tabletop flat piece of property, and there is no such thing. So there are slopes in the community, but they have been positioned in a way that everybody will have a lot of flat usability before that.
Yeah, and I think what will help bring it a little full circle is if you have an opportunity, as Scott mentioned, to go walk the property before your appointment with the sales team. Because one of the things obviously that you're going to dive into with the sales team is home site. That's a very important part of this piece of the puzzle. So if you have a chance to physically see it and have in your mind what it looks like as you are looking on the paper with the sales team, I think that'll be very beneficial.
Yeah. And as we start to talk with you directly, will help you evaluate, where the slopes are, whether or not if you're trying to avoid one. Sometimes slopes are good because they can create privacy. Sometimes slopes are good because they create beautiful views beyond the slope. And sometimes if you just don't want a slope, we have lots that will provide you that here in this community, in Meadow Point, that is. In some communities, it is impossible to avoid slopes. And this one, there will be many options if that is important to you, that we will be able to point you toward. You'll start to be able to decipher through that when we publish this grading plan at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. All right, next question. Are there any incentives you would anticipate, such as 20% off upgrades or something like that?
Unfortunately, no, we do not incentivize our home prices in any way. So, our belief at Infinity here, and this has been the same from the very beginning, is to provide a very good product at a competitive price. And hopefully people see value in that. Discounting randomly or giving away discounts on basements or percentages off options or what have you, only devalues your product. And so we strongly believe that we should build a very nice home, and all the things that people are looking for, and location and price and product and people and all those things that are very important at a competitive price.
Yeah.
And hopefully people see that, and if they do, they will buy, and if they don't, there are other options out there where people are discounting their product, and I believe that creates frustration within a community, because if we're discounting 1 month and we're giving away 20%, and then the following month we give away 30%, it only creates frustration, trust me, within the community and the buying process, and so we do not do that.
And it protects the value of the community in general. So know
Absolutely.
that we're not going to come in and slash prices or offer incentives that would hurt the home value of your home.
Yep. It has worked, by the way. This is consistent with every community, and this has worked, and we do have people reselling homes at this point at prices much higher than they bought. So this has worked very well, and Infinity has, using this approach, been able to grow, probably the fastest growing home builder in the Pittsburgh area. So with this approach, it has been proven to work and protect values, and people, I do think, see the value.
Yeah. Can you share what options are covered with the base price, if any?
Probably way too complicated to talk about in today. So I think that would be something that we, if you're interested, we should meet, and learn that very quickly. In that first hour phone call, that'll be what we're kind of talking about. What's included in the base price, what's not, and in an hour of your time, you'll kind of get a very good sense.
I think just in general, structurally wise, for what's included in the base, you can see that pretty easily on our floor plans. So when you go in any of the floor plans, you can see what the included first floor, included second floor, and then the rest of the options.
We do publish specifications too. Are they on the website?
Yeah, so our inclusions for each floor plan are on there as well. So you can, if you want to dive into more of the specifics on appliances, like what comes included with that, you can find that on there as well.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I think that covers all of our questions. You guys were great participants here, definitely involved. Sounds like you guys are just as excited as what we are. So remember, connect with Alicia to get your appointment scheduled, to get next steps with the sales team. And then we'll, I think another one just came in. Okay. We were told to plan on an additional $200,000 from the base price to include the options. Is that a good estimate? Really great question. Hard one to answer.
Very tough one to answer. So, really hard one to answer. The option packages can range greatly. What I can tell you is what we've already kind of touched upon. Our base prices start between $700 and $900, depending on what home you pick, roughly, I'm estimating. And our finished packages range from low eights to $1.5 million. Okay, so if you do the math, you'll kind of see that there is a very wide range. Somebody can put less than $100,000 in options in their home, and somebody else may put $700,000 of upgrades in their home, which is how they would get to a $1.5 million sales price. So real tough one to answer. 200 is going to get you kind of in the range, but I would say that can go all over the place. It really starts to depend on, do you want a finished basement? Do you want a third floor? How extensive of an outdoor space do you want to include? If you don't know, and you've been to our models, the outdoor space of a home is very unique to Infinity, and we spend a whole lot of time helping our customers build this outdoor kind of oasis, because that is what we see most people in older existing homes do not have, and they really, really want. So an outdoor space can start at 20,000 and it can go up to 150,000, depending on how extensive an outdoor kitchen, fireplaces, and privacy walls, and benches, and fire pits, and all kinds of things you may want. And we do everything in between. So really tough one to answer. I would probably not lock into that 200. It could be more or less depending on what you want in your home.
All right, I see this is recorded. Can I share it with my daughter? Yes, Richard. We are going to, once we close out here, I will send out the recording so that you can, if you hopped on here maybe midway and didn't get the beginning, you can check out anything that you may have missed. You can share it with anybody. So yes, everything that we are stating on this call, and then, will be public knowledge on the website as of tonight. So yeah.
Well, fantastic questions, everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've heard, and maybe learned a few things. If there's still questions, I think, again, I reiterate, next steps would be go out to the community, walk it, spend some time, and half hour at your leisure, kind of walking around, getting a feel for it, and maybe where you would want to be placed. The information is going to be released as far as premiums and grading, so you'll have that at your fingertips to be able to kind of make that trip more effective. And then if you go out and you're very excited and want to sit down in an hour, any questions you still have will be answered for you, and you'll have a very clear understanding of what's included, what's optional, what your price will be, how the financing works, when certain deposits would be due, how the selection process works from there, and overall timing. So these are all questions that everybody wants to know. In about an hour phone call with you, we will share all
cover everything.
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Again, thank you all for tuning in, and any additional questions, just keep them, write them down. And then once you get a chance to sit down with the sales team, they can go through all of those. So
thank you all.
See you guys later.
Take care.
Bye.